Welcome to the Castillo de San Marcos in el Presidio de San Agustín de la Florida. We are standing in what was known as the soldiers' quarters. Basically, we slept in here, we ate in here when we were not on duty. I'm Cabo de Escuadra Orlando, and what that means is that I'm a corporal and I was in charge of a squad of soldados. There would have been 30 soldados living in the Castillo for about 48 to 72 hours. This was not a living fortress. Everybody else that was not on duty would have been living outside in the village or in any of the satellite compounds that we had around. Our day consisted of training, and more training. Now what you're seeing here is a typical uniform of a soldado español of 1738 to 1742. We all wore the same uniforms. It was red, blue, and that's it. We have also what is called a tricorn. Before the tricorn, what we had was a big, huge sombrero that the tercios used. The problem with that was that when we came and started using the musket as our main hand weapon, that big sombrero was on the way, and we couldn't do anything with it. So we started folding the sides so that we can actually move the fusiles or muskets around. We had to make our own ammunition and our own pólvora. Even though we were supposed to get all of that from either Havana or Mexico City, many times we did not. Some of us would be in the gun deck, guarding in the guerrilla. Some of us would be in the main entrance to the fort, making sure that only the people that needed to come in were allowed entrance. And the rest of us would have been out there doing drills. Not only we had to protect the whole city, protect every fort, and that include our outpost all the way in what is now Tallahassee. We had to send 80 soldados every three months, and we had to send 80 soldados there. They stayed there for 3 months. Basically, some of the things that we had was, in case that you want to know, this is called a command stick. Basically, all the officers and non-commissioner officers from Cabo to General had one of these. They were different, of course. Mine is a Cabo, is a corporal stick, so it's very simple, very small. Sargentos and up, they would have something that was more elaborated and more not user-friendly. I got here, this would have been a typical musket of the period. Now, the one that I got in here is a 1724/1727 Spanish Miquelet fusil, the 69 caliber, and as you can see, is a flintstock. This is what we would have here from the beginning, starting in 1724. The truth is that we were at the end of the Spanish Trail, if you want to call it that way, and many times it was years before we actually saw anybody else. So we had to do with what we can find. Many of us would have weapons that we captured from other people, like the British, when they attacked in 1728 or in 1702, or actually in 1740 we did. After we defeated the British, we had a lot of the British fusil, which was or musket, which was the Brown Bess. But this was a Spanish, actual Spanish-made fusil that many of us would have had at the time. This here is our field gear. Basically, as you can see, is what we can call a backpack these days, or a haversack, or a knapsack. And basically, everything that we need for the field is in here. Extra clothes, food, ammunition, cleaning equipment, all of that would have been in here. This thing probably would have weighed about 50 to 75 pounds easy, once you got everything that you needed in there. And you had to take this with you in the field. And if you think about, for example, Fort Pupo and Fort Picolata and Fort San Diego, they were over 20 miles from here. So we had to hike 20 miles to get there on time to relieve the troops that were there or to whatever we needed to do. when it comes to eat, La Florida, especially San Agustin, was not a rich city, not compared to Mexico City, Lima, Panama, or any of them. It was very small. In the 1740s, we had about 2,500 to 2,800 people living in here. That includes the military force. We did not have shops like these other cities did. We did not have theaters like these other cities did. We did not have anything. It was just houses and people, and that was it. So we had to do with what we have. When we came to eat, we had to provide our own food. As you can see here, I got a table. And basically, this would be something typical of what the soldados would have been eating in here. From the chickens, we got chicken meat and eggs. And then we actually had corn and potatoes and different other things. We bake our own bread. And of course, we hunt or fish. And basically, that's what the life of a regular soldado in the 1740s would have been. Thank you.